again to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm Brother Fancy.
Hello, Brother Fancy. It's me, Jerry Brown. I'll be in the audience today.
Oh, hi, Jerry.
Say, I'm glad you're conducting because, well, I wanted to ask you a question. Would you like to go on field service with me after the meeting?
Field service?
Yeah, I checked out a territory card. I thought a couple of big, strong guys like us could bust out 7 or 8 blocks of territory in no time. Shouldn't take more than 2.5, 3 hours. We'll get some a lot of people will be at home too, since it's a Sunday. We'll get every door. After which, later in the afternoon, we could go to my house and watch a rated G movie together. I'll have my wife Betty make us some cheese and mustard sandwiches.
That sounds great, Jerry. But I have plans this afternoon. It's elder business. I'm going to visit some elderly widows in the congregation and do chores for them.
Well, sounds great. I'll come with you.
No! I mean, Jerry, I just remembered I have a doctor's appointment.
On a Sunday afternoon?
It's very serious. This Watchtower Study. Whatever happened to sin? Oh, I remember those days. The Kingdom Hall back in the 80s and 90s, where someone would have sex and then spend the rest of their life feeling like a piece of shit. Their parents being ashamed of them, feeling like their life is over, always wondering whether or not they will die at Armageddon. Oh, how I yearn for those days. AIDS was first spread mainly through homosexuals and drug addicts. Blood transfusions have also spread AIDS. Young people ask,
what if my parent has disgraced us?
Thank you for the article. Young people ask, why do I have to be different? I am an 18-year-old Christian, and I must admit that it really is difficult to be different from other young people. When they ask, why don't you dress like us? Or, why not go to this dance? And so on, it takes courage to answer and give an explanation. But with the help of Jehovah and the Awake magazine, I have been able to do so. Thank you for caring about me.
The man told me that he simply wanted me as a friend, and I agreed to that. But he continued to call and ask me out on dates. When he later asked me if I would consider him as a marriage mate, I was thrilled. But a year later, he tells me that he has never really wanted to get married. He says I shouldn't have gotten so emotional about matters since he told me at the beginning that he wasn't ready for marriage. Then to cover himself, he says he still wants to marry me, but in the new world.
pedophile priests. Yuck. A flurry of child sex abuse scandals has drawn the Roman Catholic Church into a far-ranging investigation of pedophile priests. A phenomenon critics say the church hierarchy has long kept muffled. A 3-member commission has been appointed to decide how to deal with the problem that, according to a church spokesman, is a lot deeper than anybody thought. Some people, though, still have misgivings. They don't understand the psychological depth of the injury when people are injured by someone who represents the church, which we believe has formulated our values, morals, and principles.
I wept for joy.
Readers express deep appreciation for healing the wounds of child abuse by Awake magazine. Their responses have shown that this carefully prepared material accomplished its purpose, which was threefold: to provide understanding and hope for victims, to warn parents so that they can be vigilant about the safety of their children, to help elders who assist abuse victims to be better informed so that they can give more effective assistance. A theme that was repeated by many readers was typified by this comment:
I have always appreciated being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, my appreciation and love for him and his faithful and discreet slave have been increased 100-fold after reading the October 8, 1991 issue of Awake.
Child abuse. Let's face the reality of it together. It has proved very helpful to victims who cannot forget the crimes committed against them to be allowed to talk with a sympathetic elder, face the problem realistically, see how Jehovah views the matter, and deal with it scripturally so that healing in the power of Jesus' ransom can take place. The following letter from one man sums up the feeling of many. He had suffered more than 50 years of anguish because of being abused as a child. He says,
Jehovah's loving care through his earthly organization never ceases to amaze us and inspire ever deeper devotion and trust in him. After carefully studying the information in the October 8th Awake on child abuse, I wept for joy and sang song after song to Jehovah, our rock and fortress, our refuge. Keep those articles coming, brothers. Jehovah is using you in ways you can never imagine.
they rejoice in the hope ahead, confident that in God's new world, the former things will not be called to mind, neither will they come up ever again. Even now, through the healing power of Jesus' blood, they actually have a clean standing with God. He forgives them for fornicating when they were children. And they need to turn to the elders for help. These elders can act as a hiding place from the wind. It will all be hidden. You can be sure of it. To those in need, speaking consolingly and praying with them. This is better than calling the police who can't do anything for you. Thus, abuse victims can be helped to move forward. Let it go. Just forget the whole thing. And find joy in all the activities of the Christian congregation. Like field service, for instance. Your little suggestion that sex education be considered a family secret, quote unquote, could accidentally result in some great difficulty for your readers. Social workers, teachers, nurses, other professionals are now trained to watch for signs of child abuse. The word secret, quote unquote, when used by a child is one such sign, inasmuch as many sex abusers tell children to keep the abuse a secret. It's not a regular secret, it's a Kingdom Hall secret for Jehovah.
Written just for me.
That is what one youth wrote about our book, Your Youth, getting the best out of it.
When I reached chapter 5, she explained, I saw that the information was written just for me. It was about masturbation and homosexuality. Masturbation has been one of my major problems. For 3 years, I've been fighting to overcome it. I even thought I was the only one in the whole world doing that.
You thought you invented masturbation.
Praise God for having you people write this precious book.
Virginity.
Thank you for the article. Young people ask, why stay a virgin? I cried when I read the words of a 14-year-old girl who lost her virginity through fornication. The fact is, I did too. Crying all the tears in the world would never be enough to show how deeply sorry I am, as a Christian, for failing to keep my virginity. When my father found out, it was the first time I ever saw him cry.
A girl in school propositioned me several times to have sex with her. This is a true story, by the way. But I refused her every time. As a result, she accused me of being a homosexual.
Kidnapping.
Thank you for the article. Don't do anything stupid or I'll kill you.
I too was a victim of robbery in which I was held victim in my car. That's beautiful sentence structure, by the way. My abductor knew that I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses because I constantly called Jehovah's name out loud. Fortunately, I suffered no physical abuse other than swollen wrist from being tied up and a few scars from being thrown into the trunk of my car. I remained calm and was able to dig my way out through the trunk through the back seat of my car. The incident and the trial made the local news. My lawyer, neighbor, friends, and family gave credit to Jehovah for my escape. See? Jehovah does protect people. I believe that the item treatments compared that appeared in the Watching the World section was seriously misleading. It implies that people suffering from cancer would benefit just as much from unconventional therapy as they would from treatment at an established medical center. The tenor of the New England Journal of Medicine article upon which your item was based is quite different from your item. Well, this is a religious magazine, not a medical journal, so you just cool it, Jack. Grow up. Blood controversy.
I've just finished reading the article. Never say never. And I am in tears as I write this letter, brothers. I live in a religiously divided household and have a young daughter. Even though my husband does not oppose my faith now, if a situation arose with our daughter where blood transfusion was an issue, he would. Can you believe it? This article reinforced in my mind the need to train our children so that they themselves can take a stand for Bible principles at an early age. People will be at home too, since this is Sunday. We'll get every door. After which, later in the afternoon, we could go to my house and watch a rated G movie together. I'll have my wife Betty make us some cheese and mustard sandwiches.
That sounds great, Jerry.
Hello, Brother Fancy. It's me, Jerry Brown. I'll be in the audience today.
Oh, hi, Jerry.
Say, I'm glad you're conducting because, well, I wanted to ask you a question. Would you like to go on field service with me after the meeting?
Welcome again to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm Brother Fancy. Field service?
Yeah, I checked out a territory card. I thought a couple of big, strong guys like us could bust out 7 or 8 blocks of territory in no time. Shouldn't take more than 2.5, 3 hours. We'll get a lot of